Well, to our first conversation, the National Pension Commission says it's recovered 384.28 million naira pension contributions owed by workers by defaulting employers in the first quarter of 2023. Some employers have found of not making these contributions. Let's talk to Oguche Aguda, Chief Executive Officer, Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria. Pencom, great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Great to be here, Laddie. Good morning to you too.
So in the last 10 years, we see Pencom has recovered over 24.53 billion naira from defaulting firms, with 12.44 billion in principal and 12.09 billion naira in penalties. It's quite a sum. What do you think? Why do you think some of these employers are not, making these contributions? Is it about retaining profit, or the business climate is just too, harsh for them? What's the issue here?
Well, I guess the honest truth is the first thing is that people will go around the law if they think they can get away with it, right? So if they don't think they can get away with it, they'll do it. That's number one. Number two is just business practices. So if you look at either the multinationals or large corporates, they typically will comply. So it's perhaps the small businesses, and then you can say perhaps maybe business sales are low or revenue is low. But what we always say is pension is not the first thing to cost, because number one, you as an employer, if you continue to pay pensions of your staff, it helps you to attract better staff. And then it helps your business in the long run. If you want to bid for government contract, if you want to list on the exchange, if you want to raise money internationally, you will need to have those in check. So, it's a bit of both, why people are not paying their pensions. But I think what we always preach is, as companies, it's something that will benefit you, benefit your staff, and it's the right thing to do. But kudos to Pencom, who goes after those companies that are not paying with the recovery agents and try to recover. They've done a good job over the years, and I think in the first quarter, like you alluded to, about 300 million plus was recovered from companies that hadn't paid their pensions.
And looking at, the recovery, it's quite a sum. How difficult or easy is it to, recover these monies? And where does it go when it's recovered, and the penalties, where do they go?
No, it goes back to the staff. It goes back to the staff. So it goes back to credit their RSA account. So you as a staff, for instance, Laddie, if your organization is not, a new channel is compliant, you whistle blow to Pencom, and Pencom meets those companies. And then what happens is that they calculate how much you should have earned, and that's what the penalties are doing. And it goes back to your own account as a staff, your RSA account. So don't forget, with the contributory pensions scheme, what happens is that every individual has its account. You see how much is going into your account. So if 1 or 2 months your employer is not paying, if Pencom recovers, the money goes back to your accounts. Same with the interest, the penalties.
All right, let's look at the micro pension, plan. That's the one for, self-employed and organizations with, less than 3 staff. Well, how's that looking? How's that segment growing, since it started? Are we making any headway there?
We're making headway, but not as much as we would have liked. So it started in 2019, and as you know, COVID hit, and there were a lot of things in terms of purchasing power. So the numbers have not ramped up as we would have liked, but we are sort of going back to it, looking back at the product, asking ourselves, what do we need to do differently? How can we get more people to contribute to it? It's voluntary, but it's more for people in the informal sector, self-employed. It's like a self-sponsored plan, right? And currently, the assets under management for micro pension is less than 500 million naira. But we're hoping that it grows further in the coming year, because really there's going to be an epidemic if, in a number of years' time, many Nigerians grow old and they don't have something to fall back on. So it's something for the informal sector, and we're sort of preaching the message of save for your future, engage in a micro pension plan. And that's something that we hope many Nigerians get on board and begin to save for their future. As someone said, you can't depend on your kids again to look after you when you're old. So start by saving for micro pension. It's slow, but we're hoping for it to pick up.
Right, and definitely the kids are definitely going to add to that, at some point. Well, let's look at the retirement savings account, membership. Total of 9.9 million members. Further breakdown shows majority of new registrations are men. What does this tell us?
Well, I think first thing is that, there are about 10 million Nigerians on the contributory pension scheme, and that's good. The number is good. It can be more, but at least it's good. 10 million unique accounts, if you will. So it's about 60-40 in terms of new registrations. Men 60, women 40. I think it just means that there are more men working in the formal sector. That's just the simple answer. And I think if you look back historically, I think we've made a mark in terms of women getting to work, but it's still not at the 50-50 level. But 60-40, I think it's fair. It was much, much down when the pension industry started 16 years ago, and we've seen an uptick to 60-40, and hopefully, we can get to 50-50 at some point.
And also, I see about 46% of new registrations are below 30. More than half of the new RSA registration workers are in their 20s. That looks good. How has that been the trend before now?
Yeah, and that's a good sign, Vladi. And I think it will continue. That has been the trend. I mean, because it does make sense that, when you're registering newly for your pensions account, you're just starting work. So it's people that are just starting work fresh out of school, just joined companies, or just started formal work. So some people might have been working informally and just started formal work. It's typically people below 40. So that carries a huge chunk, like you said, 50% of the people. Even though there are some people who are in their 40s and 50s who are just getting formal work for the first time, that's negligible. But the strongest growth is from those under 30, and that is good for the scheme, meaning there are new people joining, young people joining, and they will probably be there for the next 30 years. Of course, they'll earn more, so their earnings and the contributions to the pensions will increase. So that's good for the scheme, and that has been in the past, and I will continue. We believe it will continue.
And that age, bracket, they have like wiggle room to take on more risk and, still growing their pension at the same time, which is good for them. But I know the Commission launched a policy allowing retirement savings account holders to, utilize a portion of their retirement savings to, pay mortgages as equity for mortgages. Do we have any success stories so far?
Yeah, we have success stories, and maybe next week or sometime I'll love to bring some of the people that have owned their homes through this process, right? It's still beginning, and there are a number of people that have owned their homes already through this process. So yes, there are success stories. It's still early days, and I believe that in the next couple of months, weeks, years, we'll hear more success stories. But I intend to just come and showcase some of those success stories of people who have been contributing consistently to their pensions and have used a portion of their pensions to pay as a down payment for their mortgages and everybody in their houses, and that we think is brilliant.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see those people and hear their stories. But what are you seeing for the second half of 2023 in terms of RSA growth and compliance by employers?
Yeah, so Pencom, like I said, have done a good job, and they will keep on hammering on the fact that people need to comply. So there's a department in Pencom which is compliance, and their job is to go after companies that are not paying. First is moral suasion, administratively engaging them. Why have you not paid? What's the issue? And if not, penalty. So I think that will continue. But also it's just to encourage firms to keep on paying, because it benefits you. Like I said, if you want to do government contracts and you don't have a pension plan certificate, you won't be able to. If you want to list on the exchange, you won't be able to. So it's beneficial for companies to pay their pensions. We also believe that growth will be strong. You've seen the equities market has gone up year to date, and the pension index year to date has gone up more than 40%. So the constituent of the growth of pensions is contributions and assets growth, and we think that will continue. So second half of the year, we also see strong numbers for the pension industry.
All right, we'll definitely be tracking growth there for the pension industry. Thank you so much for coming on. Oguche Aguda, CEO, Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria. It's great having your perspective today.
Thanks, Larry, for having me. Look forward to coming to showcase some of the success stories.
Exactly. Looking forward to that, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
All right, so after the break, commodities market update is next. Do stay with us. This is Business Morning.